Hey everybody!
Everyone. Welcome back to our channel.
It's been a while, crocodile.
Well, you may have seen on our individual Instagrams that we got engaged on Christmas Day, and we have videos on our separate channels as well of the engagement. And recently on Valentine's Day we got married.
And that's it. Yeah, Jazz has just explained it all, but this is going to be a Q&A for all your burning questions. So all kind of marriage related and taking down taboos of relationships and stuff you don't want to miss out on. So should we just dive right in?
Let's get into it. And we just want to say thank you so much for all of your love, your support, your kind wishes on our wedding post. It really means a lot, and we're excited to share this new chapter with you of marriage and being husband and wife.
Indeed. We could call it the Campbells. Big vote. What should we say?
What do you prefer, the Campbells or Jazz and Josh?
Jazz and Josh.
So thank you so much for all of your questions as well. The first one is, how did you know you were the ones for each other? So I knew Josh was the one for me through intuitive feeling. He felt like home, and it wasn't just one particular thing he did. It was the accumulation of lots of little things he did that showed that he was integral with his word. He meant the things that he said. And so it was over time, all these little things added up, and I knew you felt like home. You were everything I was seeking because I was crystal clear on what I wanted. So,
and again, I just ask you that question actually to add on, like, what does home feel like? Because lots of people can make you feel giddy, excited, and fueled with dopamine, which can lead you astray. How did you know I was good feelings?
It was constant, and it wasn't just when we like kissed or had physical intimate moments when I felt at home. It was constant.
I think for you, for me, that you were the one. Again, that feeling, you built a place of trust, that place that I was open to be vulnerable. We had lots of shared similar pasts, almost that we lived a similar reality, and then we shared the same dreams and values, and I thought, okay, she's already ticking those boxes. You felt good to be around. It's like, find the person that you can be around 24/7 and not get any energetic leaks or feel worse than you did after you've met them. And you're that type of person I could do anything with, spend loads of time with. So that makes you my one.
When I spent time with Josh, or the more time I did, Josh brought out the best in me. You unlocked, the loving side of me that I kind of hid for a while. So that was also a sign for me to know you were the one for me.
Oh, from Thomas Buddin. This is a mate from actual sixth form, a long time ago. Hey Josh, congrats on the marriage, brother. Ever miss BS? I think that's not bullshit, that's Bristol. Any plans to bring Jazz over? Well, you are me lover. We coming back to Bristol? Well, I think not soon because it's bloody cold. And I wear this because it's actually the home of Captain Blackbeard. Pretty famous for that, Jazz. Interesting history, but I think Jazz and I like to chase the sun. So sorry, mate, not for a long time unless it's to see family and friends.
Yeah, I'd love to. I've never been to the UK before, so I'd love to visit Bristol one day, and see your family there.
Me treasure. Anyway, yeah, Bristol's lovely. Lots of culture, one of the best places in the UK for shopping. But other than that, yeah, probably going to stick around in Bali.
So the next question, we got a few about whether we will stay in Bali forever, if we plan on staying here permanently. So yeah, what are our plans?
So the plans are, we're playing it by ear because of the uncertain, insecure situation with the COVID going on in the world. But I think our minds and hearts are set on checking out Australia for a more long-term investment and investing. My mouth's getting a bit clacky. A good investment. So Australia has like this benefit of being a first homeowner. Is that right, Jazzy?
Yeah.
Great standard of living, and the beach.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I can't wait for you to visit. But yeah, we think we will go with the flow for now. While we're in our youthful years, we want to travel around when we can and have a whole bunch of life experiences before we settle down somewhere.
Yes, we've had a few few signs from the universe to even pick up a dog from the street called Snowbell. Is that right, sweet? We're not trying to find our roots in Bali just yet, and if we knew we were going to stay in Bali, we would have picked up the dog. So I think finding a base, we need to be super secure in our decision. So that's why we're going to suss it out. We've sussed Bali out enough. So in Bali, the way property works is that you can do a freehold, which is 75 years, but you don't ever own the property. It's not yours, the landlord owns it. So the price, the value of land is not yours. But in Australia, you pretty much own it, don't you, Jazz? You know more than me.
Yeah, you can own property there. So we would love to own our own house, our own land one day. And we think maybe like Australia would be a better investment. So that's why we're not going to say we're going to stay in Bali permanently. But it definitely is somewhere where I think we will always drop back into and visit.
Yes, I think so too. We love the culture, the atmosphere, and it's a really positive place for us to be. Okay, next question. How to reconnect with your partner after a fight or a rough patch?
It's a great question.
Great question.
Yeah, it definitely happens in all relationships. We got a few questions about if we argue as well. So we don't argue, like we don't yell at each other or anything like that. Our rough patches are more like if one of us gets triggered. And then my auto response is to be silent, not communicate.
I'm a bit sensitive, so I'll take it personally. But I usually hold it up as well. I bottle things up a little bit like you. I think we just don't really, I don't really blame it and puke it on you. I think I realise that, that hurt, I'm a bit sensitive there. And keep it to myself.
Yeah, I think we both just withdraw a bit if one of us is triggered. But it's funny because sometimes I might get triggered and that triggers Josh and that triggers me and that triggers
It's a massive, it's a perpetual feedback loop of silence. And
but we're aware of that and we've worked through it a few times already. And how we get through that is, one of us just has to communicate, start that difficult conversation.
I think you put your ego aside. I think it takes one of us to sort of say sorry. Saying sorry is actually a really good thing to do. And one person needs to initiate a sorry, the other person needs to forgive. And then when those two things happen, you can then progress and move on. Because we heard when we got married, we had one of the witnesses, she was like, don't sweat the small stuff. Quieten the ego and realise the only response we can do is work within. Take some time out if you need to, write it down, journal it, reflect, and then come back stronger.
Yeah, that always helps. So I've already communicated to Josh before that sometimes if I'm triggered, I need just a bit of space to just not act upon my ego or anything like that, but just to let the thoughts go first, calm myself down, and then that way I can better communicate. And also we hold space for each other to feel safe to communicate as well. And I know when I get triggered, it's just an invitation to heal an inner child wound, and I work on that.
Nice, okay.
Yeah, but we always work through it, through communication, holding space.
And I think find compatibility that you're both sensitive. If you're sensitive, probably a good idea to find another sensitive partner, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they will understand. Understanding is a great place to be. They'll understand how you feel. And that's a key to empathetic interactions.
Next question. Are you planning on having kids anytime soon? We got quite a few of these questions about children.
Yeah, we're taking all the precautions.
So at the moment, we don't have plans to intentionally conceive.
Exactly. I think two of our better... I think both... I don't know what to say. I think a really core value we both share is... I think a core value that we both share... I think a core value me and Jazzy both share is... This is take 6 now. Why is it so funny? I think a core value Jazz and I share. Why is that triggering a laugh? Why is it triggering a laugh? I think a core value Jazz... I think a core value Jazz and I share is that we both enjoy freedom. And so freedom with kids at the moment is... You got to take over quick before we laugh. So I think a core value Jazz and I share is freedom, and we don't want kids involved in the freedom area. So we want to travel, do what we can before that chapter happens. It's really exciting, but before that happens, we just want to enjoy a life of a bit more freedom, I think. Is that right, sweetheart?
Yeah, and I ideally would love to be in a place where we are more than financially abundant to spend as much time as we can with our kids, and I want to be fully present there as they grow up and not stress about work. I do believe God has a timing, but we will do what we can for our own plans.
And this is super conscious and intentional, because we don't want to live through our children. We don't want to have voids in our adulthood that's going to have us live through our children and create decisions and make options for them that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
So that's pretty healthy for us and also the kids to come. But kids are coming.
Yeah, you'll be an amazing dad.
And you will be a brilliant mum. Jazz is a cat whisperer. So you're attracting and magnating cats. So I'm sure she's got that motherly energy with kids too. You have. You will be perfect, sweetheart. I can't wait.
But also I wanted to touch on how I think in society, you're expected to date a few years and then get married and then have children straight away. Because some of these questions, no judgment intended at all, of course, but it's assuming that we will have children. And yes, we do, but not all couples want to have children. So I think, rather than asking a couple, when will you have children, you could ask, for example, like, would you like to have children? Like, is it something in your plans, rather than assume...
Have you thought about having children?
Yeah.
There we go. That's a more less invasive, abrasive way of asking.
Yeah.
Next one. How to help my partner who has unhealed childhood trauma. Love you too. Well, we love you too, Jian. Thank you so much for the question. That's a really important topic.
I would say everyone has wounds and traumas to a certain extent. Doesn't mean you're broken or anything, but no one's childhood was quote unquote perfect. And these traumas, it doesn't have to be something extremely traumatizing. But even things like if you didn't get the love and attention you needed as a child, that could have created a wound. And it shows up in many different ways in adulthood. But I would say to help your partner on their healing journey, one great way is to ask them, what is the predominant negative emotion you felt in your childhood? Create safe space for them to answer, and then whatever they say it was, you can now do your best to give them the safe space they need to heal that, or to, for example, if they felt not good enough as a child, now what you can do with your awareness about what they went through is reassure them that, on the daily, you are enough just as you are. Show it through your actions. Don't place expectations on them, things like that. So just find out how you can support them best. Ask what they need and do your best. You're not here to fulfill all their needs, but you can do your best to a certain extent.
Yes, and I think making your partner feel a bit more human and accepting what they're going through. If you're being that strength in the relationship to open up the window of vulnerability, say, get really vulnerable, say how you've gone through potential childhood trauma, and that's a window for then open up a discussion about theirs. Sometimes men tend to zip the lips because culture and conditioning has made them suck it up, man up and move on, but actually they're probably just waiting for that opportunity to have a mature conversation with you. And Jazz has done that a few times, and I've definitely got really vulnerable. I just want to get all the skeletons out of the closet so then we can really create our own future. We've both lived very alternative pasts, and so we can't live with our past as shadows into our present and future moments.
Next question, what would you change about each other? Ooh.
Nothing. Easy one. Next one.
Yeah, we don't ever force us to change something about the other person.
So if someone was to want their partner to change, it's creating lots of conditions in between your love, and of course we're all trying to seek unconditional love. So I think if we want us all to change, that will destroy the idea of pure connection.
And there is a way of like you being the example. For example, you want your partner to get into meditation, right? It's a good thing, it's a great thing, but we can't force them to change. And what you can do is just be the example.
Yeah, it's non-invasive influence, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not saying that anyone's right or wrong, but you're just leading with an example. Yeah, it's a really good thing to do.
And I think sometimes if you need your partner to do something for you, for example, if you would like to hear more words of affirmation, if you want to hear I love you more, you can express that and communicate it to them. And with the right person, they will understand that.
Another great question from Maya. How to detach from the thought of finding your soulmate? Wow, massive. There's this romanticized idea of a soulmate, and I do think it exists, but the issue is meeting that soulmate. And sometimes we counterintuitively detract away from never finding our soulmate because what would we do? We create friction and a state of lack. We're like, oh, we're not going to be anybody without this person or soulmate. And some people have different ways of attracting a soulmate. We found out the other day, didn't we, Jazz, that I'm a personality type that's very generic in my calling in and manifestation. Then Jazz needs to be way more specific. So you need to get clear on who you are, whether you do it in a more specific manner, you write them down, draw them out, and that might magnate them into your life. But I think for me, I never really had that clarity. But I was letting my life be until it happened. I didn't create unnecessary friction between always trying to seek it and forcing it. Because why would you want to force that soulmate to come into your life? It won't feel very good, will it, if that makes sense?
What you place on a pedestal or make really, really important often is repelled from your life because it's the energy of lack. You're saying, oh, I want this, I want. And if you say I want, it means you don't have. So the energy you're putting out into the universe is I don't have, and that's what the universe is going to reflect back to you. Less of that. So drop the importance you are giving to your soulmate, and yes, of course relationships can be an important aspect, but don't place it on a pedestal. Don't live your life just to find your soulmate. When you detach, you are living your life just happily and freely as you are right now. So keep going for your dreams, do what you're passionate about, follow your creativity, do what brings you joy, feelings of love right now. And when you act as if now you are detached, and that's when these things come in. When you're just okay whether or not it comes into your life or not.
Yes.
By the way, what Josh was saying about the specific or non-specific is I'm looking into human design at the moment, which has been super interesting, and I'm a generator. I am a specific manifestor, meaning like I love getting super crystal clear on what I desire in my life. Josh is non-specific, so yeah, you can generalize things and they'll still come. Yeah,
very much that way. Yeah.
The next question is from the beautiful Mary, and she asks, what's Josh's number one character that you value or love the most? I would say one of them. It's hard to put just like the best or the favorite because there's so many, but one of them is Josh's emotional availability.
Oh, great.
Just available and supports me emotionally, understands me, like, because I am quite a sensitive person and an empath, so that's one of the infinite reasons I love you. Emotional availability.
Yeah, thanks. Mary asked me the exact same question. What's Jasmine's number one character that you love the most and value the most? I would say it's your ability to hold space for everything. You know what I mean? You let me be me and let you be you. And that's fantastic. I think that's a little bit like emotionally available. I think it's a great character of yours, which allows you to nurture a great environment. I think what you do is you have peace. You create an element of peace and calm, and that's a really big thing about you. In your smile, your actions, what you talk about, your outlook on life, whatever you do, being you creates that condition for peace. I think that's a great value of yours, amongst many others, of course.
Next question is from Susan. Your thoughts on taking your husband's last name? So I decided to take Josh's surname Campbell just because it's a tradition that I like, and I made this decision for me. I was not pressured at all, and I just think it would be lovely one day when we do have a family to be the Campbells and to share a surname. So it's as simple as that, really.
Okay, another 2 from Susan. Where would you like to go for your honeymoon? Oh.
In the honeymoon after our big wedding ceremony that we will have with our family, somewhere tropical.
I think where in my mind would be the French Polynesia.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere like that,
Yeah.
I reckon. Some, those bamboo stilt huts.
Yeah.
And turtles and crystal blue sea.
Yeah, we'll do that after our big wedding. I think we didn't share yet, but we had our legal ceremony. But we do want to have one with family and friends, of course, when it's possible to travel again. So who knows when that is, but it's exciting.
It is, yeah, it is. And the final one is this: what Susan said. Does Josh have any wedding ideas he'd like to have for the big one? I guess for my belief set, it's a shared experience. I think Jazz and I will make the decision together. If I was responsible for it, I would keep it all very secret and surprise Jazz with something. But I think I would go down the route of...
You want the dance, right?
Oh, I want the dance, yeah. I want the dance down the aisle with all the family getting involved.
Yeah.
Every family member have their favourite song coming on or genre, and they all sort of boogie down the aisle. And then your dad brings you down the aisle in a dance, like a bit of BTS, I reckon. Dynamite BTS as your dad comes down. I think something like, if I was surprising Jazz to ask that question, it would be like a Prince Princess Disney movie. I would try and recreate, I think, the fairy tale,
Next question. Congrats on the wedding. Thank you so much. Was there a reason you married so soon after getting engaged? So we got a few of these questions as well, and it is subjective, isn't it? Like soon, what does soon mean? But this was our personal decision. It felt right for us. We won't go too much into it because it's just personal. But what I want to touch on is like this societal expectation that you date a few years, then you get married after a certain number of years for it to be successful. And I say every couple is different. And also we grew up with examples of like both our parents got married within a year, and after 20 so years our parents are still in successfully happy marriages. So that's the model we grew up with.
And they're pretty different people too, so it's just to show that actually marriage is a bond and commitment and promise to say whatever our difference is, we're in it together for life. So I think Jazz really valued commitment, so that's why I did it so soon. I was like, I love you this much and I just want to show you in the form of service, if that made sense. That's what a wedding is, isn't it?
It just feels amazing. I think there was a question. The next question is, how's married life treating you beautiful souls? And I would say since getting married we had a Christian ceremony, and I just feel like my relationship with God strengthened even more. I feel like energetically we shifted in a positive way. Like I feel like we've gone even deeper.
Yes.
And there's a stronger feeling of commitment there, and I just want to be the best wife I can be, and that helps me strive to be just a better person in general. So
yes, and I think I remember vividly a conversation with my dad. I said, like, how did life change for you when you married Mum? And he said, life just got so much more meaningful, lots of depth, and just lots of great things. Your life will get better. We can now make our dreams become a reality, and do it as a team now. Okay, how do you guys deal with personal space, getting enough quality time, and keeping the spark romance on?
Great question.
I think it's really important for us because I'm an omnivore. I'm a bit of both, extrovert, introvert, so I need definitely alone time as much as Jazz does too, right?
Yeah, and we give it to each other when we need it, and I like to go journal by myself, for example, and we have gym time, which is our alone time as well. And we make sure to have alone time too throughout the week because, like we say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So that's important for us. And I guess if we feel like we haven't gotten a lot of quality time, we will feel it, we will sense it, and we'll communicate. We'll be like, do you want to take a weekend off and go on a trip or something?
Yeah, I think so. You're right, sweetheart. We created a wedding promise, didn't we? A list of things, like promises to each other, which is going to remind us when we're both maybe feeling low, remind us what we committed to for each other. And one of those in there is making each other a priority as well. Yeah. And to make the other a priority, you kind of also need to make yourself a priority. It's this balance, isn't it? It's like bring your best self to the relationship with the other person, but to do so, recharge your batteries when you need.
And keeping the spark alive, I would say, it's mainly comes down to making an effort. So just doing things for each other that add up, like leaving notes, surprise notes, or just surprising each other. That's the way I guess we do it. And I would say knowing the other person's turn-ons.
Oh yeah, that's huge, isn't it? So Madison said, I get easily stressed and anxious. How do I communicate this to my partner? Create a distance from the emotion if you can. The emotion is not you, and don't allow that emotion to hijack your state and be imposed upon your partner. You need to communicate that you're in that state, so leaving something that won't instigate conflict, like maybe a note to say, I'm sorry, I'm feeling some sort of way, I need my time. So have that maturity to step above, get that alone time, and not allow it to get between your relationship.
Yeah, I agree. I guess you can take some time, ask your partner if they are able to hold space for you. So would be a time and space to hold this conversation, make sure they're not distracted or busy with work. Ask if they can hold space, and when they do, you can gather up that courage inside, because I know it can be hard to express, but just tell them clearly, I get anxious and stressed often, and I'll do my best to work on it. Just an example of what you could say. All it takes is gathering up the courage, I think, to express it.
This is a big red flag. If the guy is not holding space for those emotions, I'm sorry, as far down the line you are, it might be worth looking into finding a better man that's more emotionally available for you. I think there's lots of emotionally available men and conscious men out there that will allow you to feel these ways unconditionally.
So that wraps up our Q&A. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, to give it a thumbs up, so subscribe.
Join the conversation below as well. Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on any of those questions.
And follow us on Instagram. We have a shared account, which is Jazzy and Josh.
So thanks for spending your precious time with us, and thanks for joining our love story.
We're married. Husband and wife.
Mrs. Campbell. Done well. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Take care.